due to historical maps and data provided for the previous uses on the property, but I'm not quite clear what is the criteria.
Can I just answer that?
Yeah, sure.
The Brownfields Remediation Act, I think it's called, or the Brownfield Statute, I can't remember correctly. Yeah, it's got a number to it. Anyway.
What was it?
The record of site condition.
Yes.
Ontario Regulation 153.
Thank you.
It's commonly referred to as the Brownfields Act.
153, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
153 passed in 2004.
Okay.
But it requires that in Ontario, any change in land use, right, from a lower to a higher land use, so from industrial to commercial or industrial to residential, requires a record of site condition. And in many cases, you can't do a record of site condition until you've done all the investigation that leads up to that.
Right. Okay. Thank you. My next question is there were comments about that we're talking about the contents or the aggregate on site, right? I guess, or the soil or what have you, is we're talking about 5 meters of like gravel and sand, correct? Mixed, right? And at 2 to 3 meters, we have our groundwater. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, speaking to that, I'm wondering, how is this part of our floodplain, this area, or is it a floodplain or no, or, I mean, geographically or whatever that term would be, what would this be deemed as land-wise?
Well, that's is the shallow groundwater aquifer. It's unconfined, and there's been quite a lot of testing that's been done to confirm that material is not leaving the site.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question is, and probably somebody from council could answer this, is does the CIP have a cap? Is it maxed? Let's say, for instance, per site or per developer that their cost of remediation was, say, $20 million. Is that covered by the SIP, or is there a $5 million cap, a $1 million cap, or does it have a no maximum cap on this, the CIP?
There is no maximum cap in the community improvement plan in the program. The cap is basically the environmental remediation costs that are required for the project.
Okay, so now, where are the monies coming from for the CIP?
From future tax.
Okay. Oh, so this CIP is based on the redevelopment and possibility of future taxes, right?
Yes.
Presently, the city is not collecting any revenue from the 3 properties. So they're redeveloped, they'll start paying property taxes. We'll use the property taxes that are generated from the redevelopment to pay whatever the municipal share of the costs are until that reaches its cap, and then those monies will go into the municipal general revenues like any other tax dollars that are collected. So it will be capped by
the true cost of that remediation, right?
And that'll be net of grants. There's no doubling up. The costs are what they are, and we'll apply what grant money we have from the federal and provincial governments. And then what is left over, one way of financing it will be through the taxes that are generated from the property.
So I guess my concern is this project going to cost existing members of the public and people here in this community any more taxes? Is there a certain amount of expected tax burden to us that already exists here?
Well, there's already a tax burden on the rest of the city.
But I'm saying, has this project or will this project create more? Or could it?
It shouldn't, because the revenues generated, because we wouldn't get the revenues otherwise. And we're already servicing it, we're policing it, we're providing fire services and whatnot. So it's already costing municipalities money, but we're not collecting these things. So what'll be the the revenues generated from this project that we're not collecting now will go to it, and then in the long run, it'll try and pay for itself through the taxes that are collected. In fact, truly, because hopefully it'll be development will last
Right.
forever.
Okay. Another question I had, I guess after following the issues of silt, erosion, sediment control in this community for 5 months plus, I got to say after touring numerous sites today, I'm still quite saddened to see what I'm seeing. But let's just speak about this site in particular for the sake of speaking to the site. I mean, this is what we're all here for. Knowing what's on that site and knowing that, you know what, we're not dealing with just silt, and I hate hearing that from people within the city. Oh, it's just silt, because I mean it's a contaminant. Look at the mouth of the Grand River. Look at the fanning of siltration. Look at your reports on Lake Erie, how just silt is affecting its structure, its thermocline, everything. Right? You're right. I certainly am. Knowing all of that, my concern is. And I mean, I voiced my concern. I'm sure Mr. Martin here knows my concern. Is how are we going to contain this? And I got to ask this: which department? Because I got to tell you, after 5 months of trying to chase this maddening mess around in this city, I still don't have a firm answer as to which department is directly responsible for, one, ordering those things to be put into place outside of subdivision agreements, site plan agreements, etc., etc. Who gets those put into place, who monitors them, and who orders them to be replaced when they're done. I mean, there's got to be one department, I would think, that would have direct responsibility for this. And if somebody could be so kind to answer that, I'd like that answered, because I'd be concerned about this maybe not exiting the site because it's not on a grade, it's not on the top of a hill. But of course, we have numerous access points to the storm sewer. So if somebody could be so nice to explain that to me, if they could tell me which department that is, I'd appreciate it. That's pretty much the answer I get for the last 5 months. No one knows.
Nobody knows?
This is great. You know, this is, you know what, it's really shameful. It's shameful. And you know what, it's going to be even more shameful if we can't get this in order before you start reefing out PCBs, PVCs, all those other things. That's going to be a complete mess. And I mean, I mean, it's a very legit, it's a perfectly well-based question. Which department is going to be responsible for the containment of this mess here?
What I can tell you is that we are working actively on a siltation control policy and guidelines and regulations for development in the municipality.
Are we not already using the Niagara Peninsula?
Please let him answer.
Are we not already using Niagara Peninsula's policy as read in numerous site plan agreements and subdivision agreements? Are we not already using the Niagara Peninsula's Conservation Authority's policy?
I can't answer that because I'm not involved.
Okay.
But I do know that we're working on a policy that will be presented to City Council over the winter months. So we can't do it in the blink of an eye. It takes time, and it's going.
Well, you know,
Okay, Tim,
the silt issue, excuse me though, the silt issue has not been the blink of an eye in this community. The silt issue has not been an issue just in the last 5 months. The silt has been an issue to numerous cold water streams, of which we have lost 80% of in our province, people. There, no, excuse me, and what my point is, excuse me, and that's what I'm asking a question on. Can someone answer that question? Which department in this city is going to be responsible for that? It's a simple question.
You have an answer tonight. We are working on a policy. We will take it to council. It will get approved. We've been working on the siltation guidelines for a while. There's still more work to be done. And as part of the environmental cleanup process and runoff from the environmental cleanup process, and one of